Today on Earth Focus, growing food on trucks? Entrepreneur and filmmaker Ian Cheney may be onto something. His film Truck Farm looks at innovative ways to grow food in cities. Coming up on Earth Focus.
Making a truck farm is really rather simple. It doesn't take a genius to do. You borrow a technology that others have invented for growing plants upon a roof. Truck farm, it's like a roof. Truck farm, it's like a roof. But this is no ordinary roof. First goes a barrier called a root barrier that keeps the roots out of your brain. Second goes a mat called a drainage mat that helps the water to drain. Then you have a blanket, an erosion blanket that keeps the soil from washing away. And then you have some special lightweight soil that gives the roots a place to play. Truck farm, it's like a roof. Truck farm, it's like a roof. But you can't drive around in a roof.
The inspiration for the Truck Farm project was really born of necessity. I moved to New York City, wanted to have a place to grow some of my own food, but didn't have any place to do it. And I took a good long look at the back of my old Dodge pickup truck and realized that it was about the same size as a backyard garden bed. So borrowing some technology from rooftop gardens, I made a truck farm happen.
That's pretty good.
Most of us grow up in cities. The majority of the world's population is now an urban population. And in the United States, we've long been, for several generations, a predominantly urban people. And what that means is we grow up without an understanding of certain fundamental things that our grandparents or great-grandparents would have taken for granted. You know, where food comes from, where water comes from. So truck farms are doing one tiny little part of that. Even by driving through a neighborhood or even by being parked on the side of the street, there's this visual reminder that food comes from somewhere. It grows, it comes up out of the dirt, it needs resources to survive, it needs healthy soil, it needs rainwater, it needs access to sunlight. Somebody grows it. It has a story, it has a backstory. And I think the more reminders we have that the stuff we consume every day, which we take for granted, actually has a backstory, I think the more careful we'll be about what we choose to buy. And I think those decisions will then ripple back through the economy to make every aspect of our supply chains and our food system more sustainable. I think truck farms teach us that to make the food movement itself sustainable, maybe we do need to inject some amount of fun and whimsy and out-of-the-box thinking into the way we are designing our food system. I've seen truck farms get a much broader circle of young people interested in growing food than we might have otherwise. So I think there's a lot of room for creativity and innovation in the food system. Not long ago, we launched a truck farm fleet where we encouraged groups and individuals around the country and cities and counties all across the country to start their own truck farms, their own mobile gardens, to educate young people about how fun and easy it is to grow their own food. So they've been popping up everywhere. Our first summer of the truck farm fleet, at peak summer, we had 25 truck farms in cities all across the country, and they're continuing to pop up. I believe the latest one that emerged was actually overseas. It was Truck Farm Palestine. So who knows, maybe it'll take fire internationally as well.
Today we're making our first delivery of truck farm produce to nutritionist Marion Nessel. who has paid $20 for a subscription to the summer truck farm.
So it's very casual, and I don't fuss much with it, and I kind of let things do what they do. But it has some interesting food. It has, for example, it has blueberries. There's your truck farm, 12 flights down. I once talked to a produce manager for one of the big food chains in California about how long it took to get California produce from a vegetable farm in Salinas to one of the grocery stores in this neighborhood. And he explained the whole thing. It was about 2 weeks. So if you pick this and put it in your refrigerator and keep it in your refrigerator a week, you can still eat it. It'll be fine. You can't keep produce from California in your refrigerator for a week. It'll be mushy because it's much, much older, and the nutritional quality will have deteriorated. The taste is gone. Broccoli from California doesn't taste anything like that adorable creature is going to taste. Oh, thank you. This is wonderful. It looks delicious. You don't think I can... Oh, it's good.
The truck farm is not the solution to our urban food problems or our global food problems, of course. It's a garden in a pickup truck. It was never meant to be a suggestion that everybody should abandon their farms and plant food in pickup trucks, or that if everybody in a city had a pickup truck filled with food, that everything would be okay. But I do think truck farms teach us a few things. Food is, of course, very fundamental. We all have to eat. But it's also a window onto larger issues. It's a window onto environmental issues, on social issues, onto political issues. So by understanding how we eat and how we grow our food, we can understand a lot about what makes our world tick. And through that, understand better how to promote a more sustainable future. The way we eat has a tremendous impact on the natural world and therefore on the ability of future generations to survive. So if we can figure out a way to eat, we can not only make our own lives better and healthier, but we can also figure out how to make the planet more sustainable in the long run.
If there are 8 million people in New York City eating 2,000 calories a day, there are 365 days in the year. That's a lot of food, you might say. How much food do we really need? And how much food can we grow? Let's get down to the facts, my friends. This is something we'd all like to know. There are 32 teeth in the human mouth and 28 feet of intestines. And water in Niagara Falls flows 150,000 gallons per second. The largest dinosaur weighed 200 tons, but only 75 on Mars. Not every man grows a mustache, but people like the smell of new cars. Let's get down to the facts, my friends. This is something we'd all like to know. The answer is we need a lot of food. We should grow it every place it can grow.
The Window Farm project is all about making it possible for New Yorkers and any urban dwellers to grow food in their apartment year-round. I remember looking at the interior courtyard of my building, the 6-story multifamily building that had, it's just the central area where you leave all of your garbage. And the whole area is just covered with windows going all the way up. I remember taking a picture of it and thinking, what if we were all just growing food inside of this kind of unused space? After that, it was just like a series of experiments. It is making it possible for at least people to learn much more about how plants work and how to grow their own food, and kind of just building up our own confidence, basically, about our ability to survive on our own. So you can have a huge plant. We found that putting it actually in, so that's where the pump is.
While making the truck farm film, I think it was very surprising and instructive to think critically about urban agriculture, to question whether truck farming or rooftop gardening or vacant lot farming or window farming, growing food on boats floating in the harbor, whether this is a good idea or not. And of course, few of these urban farmers were suggesting that these are the solution to our global food problems. But it was still helpful to say, why are we doing this? Because it sheds a lot of light on what we do need in cities. I think a lot of people are growing food in cities because they miss working with their hands. And they also miss the taste of freshly grown food. And then on a larger scale, I think a lot of people are growing food in cities because we like the idea of being able to live in a vibrant social environment, but not be totally divorced from the natural world. And I think these urban farmers are all part of this project to figure out what cities of the future could and should look like.
Lunch pails and tennis balls and printers and boots, a family of unusual farms. Truck farm has a family now. My loneliness is gone and the vegetables are here, and soon we'll be planting again.
Airwaves, a global channel of uncompromising stories, world news, documentaries, entertainment, and culture. Link TV, connecting you to the world. For more information, visit linktv.org.